Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics / Non-Classic. This is episode number 989 and Doubleshot number 883. I got two trades from the series Thor. Yep. First up, it is Thors. The Thors miniseries by Jason Aaron and artwork by, if I can get to the page here, Chris Spruce, who does all four issues, and basically Gore and Souza basically co-draws for issues 2 and 3. This book also includes Thor 364-365 by Walt Simonson. Yep. Now I should point out that this is the seventh miniseries from Secret Wars I have reviewed. The thing with this one, it features a whole bunch of Thors. Thors in Secret Wars was simply Doom's police force on Battle World. Now, as you see in the cover, you can see, let me lift the sticker here. You have on the cover, if I can get to it. Come on. Oh, seriously. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I have to basically show up the picture here. Now there's basically multiple different versions of Thor appears in this series. There's a couple of them I think should appear, but they don't. Okay, on this cover we have the Ultimate Thor from the Ultimate Universe. We have, that's Jane Foster Thor. She only appears in the last issue of this series. Destroyer Thor. Throg. The Thor basically is a frog. Beta Ray Bill and Storm. Yep, we also have a Rune Thor from Walt Simonson's run. And there's even a Groot. There's actually, where Groot is a Thor. Yes, Groot. And this basically is sort of like a police position. Now, here's a better image basically using the cover. Now, those of you curious of who's the old man in the corner, that is actually King Thor. Yep, he's the law speaker in this one. Yep. And here's the opening page here, of course, the murder. There's the tree, there's Groot Thor, and there's the Rune Thor. Yep. This one basically have Ultimate Thor investigating the deaths of like 5 women who look exactly the same, except a little age a little different, and they're all the same person, Jane Foster. They have realized still like the final issue. And because of Thor, less Thor and Loki, except he's a homeless person, not the god of mischief here. And the whole thing basically and of course, during the course of this miniseries now, Ultimate Thor is the main character. They also have the Unworthy, they also have Thor who lost his hammer and basically swung on an axe. That's actually something Jason Aaron came up with. Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about soon. Yeah, one where basically shirtless, and he's got another arm, and he's carrying an axe instead of basically a hammer. This version basically was disgraced because I think he basically like messed up a case, so he got stripped of his hammer. Yep. And what's the Throg, the Frog Thor? He is simply a forensic scientist. Yep, forensic scientist. A frog is a forensic scientist. Yeah. Who knew? Oh, and who committed the murders? Also, Beta Ray Bill gets killed off in this miniseries. Well, this version, anyways. They call him Beta Ray Thor, which I thought was a little weird. Basically, it's Beta Ray Bill. Basically, the murderer is revealed to be the Rune Thor. I'm not really sure why he picked that one. Maybe he doesn't like Walt Simonson's run. I'm not sure. But this, of course, is a great miniseries. And the ending leads into my next book I'll talk about just a minute. This book, a 9.5 out of 10, really, really good. One of the best miniseries that come out of Secret Wars. And next up, we have more Jason Aaron stuff. We have The Unworthy Thor by Jason Aaron. Artwork for the first 2 issues by Oliver Capelli. The last issue 3 is done by Oliver. Oliver Capelli does pretty much all 5 issues. For issues 1, 2, 4, and 5, he does pretty much by himself. And while he does all the issues, he does issue 3 with Kim Jericho. 5 he does by himself. With 4 he does with Kim Jericho, Fraser Irving, S.I. Rubik, and Russell Derman. Now, the story of this miniseries is this. Yeah, this is basically like pretty much what the regular Thor is up to. This is, of course, the original Thor. Yeah, and he spent most of the miniseries looking like this, where he's shirtless, basically carrying around his axe, he's got a messed up cape, and he basically has to hold his pants up with like thread. Oh yeah, and he rides a goat. Now the story picks up like not long after the events of Original Sin, and probably presumably after Axis and of course Thor still basically has his arm chopped off. He basically assesses with a hammer, and Jason Aaron does something that he's one of like 3 people who bothered to reference this, because here's the weird thing. Since Original Sin, there is something that happened in Original Sin that apparently no other writer except for Jason Aaron, Mark Waid, and Dan Slott bothered to mention this. Basically, on the moon, we have the Unseen. Who is the Unseen? The original Nick Fury. That's not a joke, it seriously is. And apparently, get this, who are the other 2 writers who bothered to reference this? Dan Slott and Mark Waid. No other writer ever bothers to reference this. I have no idea why, but they do. The story for the series is, okay, the Unseen basically tells Thor there's another hammer out there, belongs to the Ultimate Thor, and it's been stolen with old Asgard. Who steals it? The Collector. Yes, the Collector. We also have Beta Ray Bill show up as miniseries. Yeah, second miniseries, basically Jason Aaron writes, and it features Beta Ray Bill in awesome fashion. And at one point in the miniseries, because they have the whole thing, first point, basically a Beta Ray offer because he wants to see that Thor has a hammer against the Officer Serpinger. Basically turns down, and it basically goes crazy trying to get the hammer. And then he tries to grab the hammer, but he basically turns it down. He says, "That's not my hammer." Probably because his hammer is with Jane Foster. By the way, I got to mention, she shows up in issue 4 and basically explains and sets up these events of the final issue of this particular thing, of the main Secret Wars event. And here's kind of the weird thing. The final issue was in fact delayed. Yes. One of several books to get delayed along with the final issue of the miniseries. For some stupid reason. I don't know why. And then for this miniseries, halfway through, Thor basically stops looking like shirtless Thor and basically puts on this shirt and transforms his cape into like a... He basically has this look, and this look is pretty much maintained up until like just before its last known relaunch that happened last year. Yep. This, of course, is a fantastic miniseries, and it ends with set up for something that will happen in the main Thor book. We see sort of the debut of we see someone walking toward the Ultimate Hammer, who's not this Thor, comes from Odinson. He walks to the hammer, and he says, "Time for the birth of the War Thor." Yeah, because apparently Thor in the Norse mythology is the god of war. I have no idea why, but this miniseries is fantastic. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Really, really good. I love this series. Reading the series again. The series only came out before I end this. Okay, this only came out like 2 years ago. Also, this miniseries actually bothers to explain what Nick Fury said to Thor that caused him to drop his hammer. What did he say? Gore was right. Yep, Gore was right. And Beta was like, Gore, as in the God Butcher? Yeah, he says, none of the gods are worthy. Yep. But I'm glad the fact Jason Aaron finally resolved that question. I'm sure a lot of people had for about 3 years. Actually, about 2 years by the time this miniseries came out. Yeah, people have probably been asking that question for 2 years. And the question is finally answered here of why Thor basically lost his hammer. Because the claim wasn't worthy. Yep, but really good. I'm trying to think, was anything else for this one? Oh yeah, we also almost there's one other thing. We also see something that will play a part in Jason Aaron's run for the foreseeable future, up until the end of the first arc of the relaunch. And what is that? If I can get to it. We have Thanos shows up in this miniseries. Yeah, he shows up here, and his Black Order is made up of Black Swan, yeah, a character created by John Hickman from New Avengers, Proxima Knight, and he forms an alliance with this woman. Who is this woman? Hela, the goddess of death. And she starts a relationship with Thanos. That basically plays a part in the Thor books for the next couple years. Yeah, this particular plot thread is not officially wrapped up until the first arc of the Fresh Start for the Fresh Start initiative for Thor, the relaunch that happened last year. That's when this particular plot point is finally tied. It's still there per se, but that's when this particular relationship. That's where this plot that gets wrapped up. This goes on for about a couple of years. But yeah, so that's particularly it for this particular review. My next review will be a review of the 20th James Bond film. You get my thoughts on that soon, okay? But see you there. Bye.